So have a plan before we get in that environment. Get yourself sold a little bit. Get comfortable with the risk more than anything. Get comfortable with what wager you have on the table. Remember, you guys are all in to start, so got to try and reduce risk as we move forward. You got all your chips already on the table every season when it starts. We go South American production, like I told Andy. Andy said it's obviously still the numbers are up in the air. You've got guys now saying, you know, what do we got? Brazil's going to be at 65. We're going to be, who knows, possibly in Argentina. New numbers come out every single day. It's like a fish story. The fish keep getting bigger, and I don't know. I mean, we're going to have to give it just a little bit of time here to play out. Some folks are saying the late rains have obviously helped some of the beans. You know, that's, some guys will argue one side, some guys will argue the other. You know, I'm really indifferent on it right now. I think it's obviously stoking the bullish flames. If you have to equate it, as I come out of the huddle, bullish, boom, it's bullish. I mean, you're trying to determine if you're going to run or throw here, if we're going to punt. You know, I say, heck, we're in a good situation. We're driving the ball. I mean, that's where we're at right now. So Chinese demand, 55 to 60, who knows? 2 months ago, everyone's talking 53. Now we're at 55. Now guys are talking 58. Maybe we're at 60. Next year, we're at 64. I think this number's a guess. I think, you know, how can you believe the Chinese data? You know, it's, hell, every time we turn around, it's something new coming out of there. So I don't think anyone has a good idea on that. That's why I really discount some of the supply-demand numbers in and of themselves, because I don't think anyone knows what they have. I mean, let's get serious here. These guys are playing for keeps. You know, they're not just going to just turn over all their cards and turn over all their chips. I mean, they're playing this game just like we are, trying to play to win here. So with that in mind, be careful getting yourself, you know, overly divulged into these numbers and trying to fight this thing. I hear so many guys, USDA number's wrong, or the Chinese number's wrong. Well, okay, so it's wrong. So the scouting report was wrong. What the hell are we going to do? We're going to quit? We're not going to finish this game? I mean, let's go. Drop it. We missed the boat there. Let's move forward on this thing. That's what we have to get our mindset as. You know, you got to try and predict and try and estimate to some degree, but don't get yourself all overly indulged with some of these numbers as we move forward. No Sam Tail, I kind of talked about that. U.S. acreage battle, I've talked about this one for the last several weeks, I mean months. There's everyone that was coming out saying we were going to be fewer soybean acres. How many of you did I talk to all across the country said, you guys going to plant fewer soybeans? Nope. I was telling A, I said, hey, nobody's planting fewer soybeans, not from what I'm hearing anyway. I said, guys were happy with their soybeans last year, had some decent luck, and it seems like everybody's keeping their same rotation, not a lot changing. You know, I'm with these guys. I think we're going probably 76 million acres. The USDA said 75, staying the same. I'd say they'll raise them more than lower them to some degree. So we'll have to watch that as we head forward here. I especially think if you continue to see this balance, we've had some guys calling in as of late and telling me now they're thinking of switching some acres. Back over, corn on corn guys who weren't gonna. They were staying, they're like, hell with it, we're just gonna stay with corn on corn. Last 2 weeks, here we go. Might switch a few. Having a hard time maybe getting some seed, hell, just reduce the cost. I'm gonna have to throw these acres into soy here eventually, so we might as well just run a few acres here into soy. So I got to believe soy acres continue to creep a little bit higher on us. I think we can get to that $13 mark. I think we got a chance to get up in that range. And especially if we catch any type of weather issue. Like I said, this money's going to flow in and this money's going to flow out. We get a little bit of a weather story, we're going to come back in pretty hard, and I think we can make a run. So with the outside stars line. If we talk corn, I think this is one everyone wants to, you know, kind of hear about. U.S. South American production as I'm coming up to the line. Look, those numbers are throwing up on these balance sheets ahead of me. Those are if numbers. That is if weather is correct. That is if we get the acres planted. That is all big ifs, correct? We all know this. If that doesn't play out, we head higher. I say it's all about U.S. production. Make it real simple. I'll throw this out to you. We go 155 yield. I say we're at 1 billion carry. We're right where we need to be. Probably right in this area, you know? $6, $5.50, $6, $6.50, somewhere in that ballpark. You go 162, 164 plus. You saw the balance sheet. We're 1.6 billion or more. We're probably 1.78. Shit, we may be over that. We're going lower. We're probably going, you know, shit, I don't want to say sub $4, but don't the funds every time go to the extreme? I mean, don't they take this market way past where it should be? So don't say that we can't get by on, I mean, there's no way we can go sub 4. Don't say that. It's possible. They overdo it every time. They overdo it to the upside. They overdo it to the downside. So it's going to come down to yield, and I'm absolutely positive it's that pivotal, and that's all it's going to come down to. You go 150 or lower, 150 or lower yield, or, you know, something like this year. I say we go above $8 in corn. So pencil that one in. If I'm wrong, call me, tell me I was wrong. I just don't see it. I just think there's too much dry powder sitting. I think the funds could add a ton of money. I think the outside environments with politics is right. Nothing's going to change with the farm bill. They're going to try and create more jobs. They got to hammer the dollar. I don't see any way around that we don't smoke higher on a sub 150 yield. So get yourself sold to a point where you can handle the risk. Get yourself sold where you can weather the storm. If it goes sub, you know it could go extreme, but then we're probably going to get some move back to bounce back. Know that moving forward. Future of ethanol, I think Tom did a great job touching on it. I see ethanol taking a more prevalent role across the world. I think you're seeing Bunge, I think you're seeing some other people invest millions and millions and millions of dollars into ethanol, period. I don't think they'd be investing millions of dollars into ethanol if they thought it was going in the tank. I think you're going to see more domestic bushels in South America stay home. I think because of that. I think South America wants to get the blend rate up. I know Argentina, I know Kirchner wants to get the blend rate up. It's a 2% blend rate right now because that's all the sugar cane they can produce. She wants it to be at 20, 25% like Brazil. Brazil politicians go on record as saying ethanol was the single thing that turned their whole country around. Period. End of story. They do not want to be handcuffed to Middle Eastern oil. None. Zero. So if you're going to tell me that ethanol is going to fall and fade away, I say there's no way. There's no way in hell, period. I don't see it happening. So I don't think these people, I have trust that these people are some of the smartest people in the world, and they're investing millions and millions and millions of dollars to find alternative fuel. And one of the biggest ones, obviously, ethanol. And they're going to do everything in their power to produce more ethanol. So as production goes higher and the supply and demand numbers move, and this can't happen, and I hear that this can't happen, remember what I said, smartest people. 2-year period, overestimate everything. In a 10-year period, we have no sense of what can or cannot happen. I will sit here today and bet in 10 years ethanol is way, way bigger across the world for the video that Tom showed. So, you know. Global demand, obviously. I think that's going to play out. I think we got to look at China. I think, like Andy said, he hit it on the head. I think China's gone from, we had a conversation the other day. I think China, you know, traditionally they came in and were just big buyers all in one chunks, trying to restore, obviously, their own domestic, you know, supply lines, supply chains for the government. I think you're seeing that change now. I think it's taken more of the tone of the soybean importing that China's doing. I think China is going to start smaller increments. Like he said, it could be a day-to-day thing. I mean, we wake up, China buying corn again, China buying corn again. I think that's probably the theme moving forward, especially. I think China thought there for a while. They were wanting to import corn because they were having more trouble. They were paying more to move it domestically in the country and to transport it than they were to just import it. So I think you're going to see that theme continue. I think they're going to try and import, you know, I think the number's being thrown anywhere, 4 to 7 million times. I think we're going to continue to jump. I think FC Stone threw out a crazy number a couple of days ago that said we could jump dramatically in the next 2 to 3 years. So I'm telling you, I think there's more to this China story. I think, you know, where there's smoke, there's fire. So I'm with Andy in the sense that, I don't know, we're making all-time highs in China and corn, and then they're telling us they have a record crop and demand's going in the tank. Shit, something doesn't make sense. I mean, I'm not that stupid. I know I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed sometimes, but I cannot figure that one out. You know, like I said, people buy value. There's obviously value in corn for some reason, whether it's for ethanol purposes, whether it's for domestic feed purposes, the hogs, the cattle, whatever it may be, prices are going higher in China. And that's what's happening. So will I probably move more bullish come next week? Yes. China has now, that is a trigger. China has now stepped in and confirmed they are buying in small doses. To me, small doses is more bullish than just one big chunk. I just think there's an issue. So I've probably become more bullish in that context. Mexico obviously having problems this year. Japan, we know their issues and how that's playing out. So we're going to continue to look that front. And as long as, like I said, as long as the outside winds stay behind our back, as long as these things happen, you got production failures in South America. You got, I think ethanol's going. I mean, let this Middle East thing blow up, like Tom said. Let people lose their families. Let things play out, and let human emotions get involved. Supply demand goes out the window. Let this play out deeper and see how this thing, Middle East thing, plays. Let me know what happens with this ethanol. And I think you're going to see the same thing with global demand. I think it's going higher. So what? We've gone straight up. What's that mean? Well, now it has to be a bubble. Oh, we can't go any higher. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I've seen too much. I've seen too many things happen. I can't be on that front. So you have to listen to the markets. Don't try and guess these tops. Don't try and guess these bottoms. I mean, it's a fool's game. Like I said, it's just very, very difficult. So forecasting, handicapping, I say counting cards. U.S. politics, is this on a scale of 5? I give U.S. politics +4 right now. Oh, not in the job they're doing. Hell no. I mean, we're not going there. I'm saying the policy they have as far as what could happen to these commodity markets. They're playing safety right now. I'm reading them every step of the way. They're definitely stoking the flames. They need inflation to go higher. South American production setbacks. So you telling me that's bearish? No way it's bearish. Shit, I should probably be at a 5. No one saw that coming. I mean, I'll give it a 3 just because I don't know yet. I've just heard too many stories both sides of the fence. La Nina weather patterns, crazy winter. Warmest winter we've ever seen here, probably. Craziest winter. I think Jay and I talk, other guys talk. I've been all up north, all everywhere. Everybody says, hell, we haven't had a winter. Well, that's normal. Is that bearish? I don't think it's bearish. I'm going to say it's bullish. As I break the huddle and look, I'm saying weather's bullish. Shit, if the trend continues, if the trend's my friend, we're in for some type of erratic summer, I've got to believe. I think they said it's like 99%, 95% of the time. Extremely warm winter produces an extremely warm summer, or extreme heat. -4, potential to plant second most corn ever. Got to call it like I see it. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We're at 94 million acres. I'm with Andy. Probably should be at 95 million. I wouldn't doubt it. Next thing, triple stack, genetics. Well, genetics are off the charts at some of these places. I don't think we've even touched the tip. So I got to be -4. I should probably be -5 there. I mean, realistically. I mean, I'm not sure. That number there has kind of got me a little perplexed because there's still the if on the weather and, if we can get those things going. Glut of global wheat supplies, -3, period. I mean, shit, all-time highs in world wheat right now. I think demand's hanging in there, though. Demand seems pretty tough to me right now. Demand's playing a heck of a game, in my opinion. And I think that's the only reason I kept it off of -5, say, if I'm getting up there and I'm just quickly analyzing. Chinese importing potential, I did this slide before they announced that on Thursday. +1, I think you got to probably go to +2, +3 now. It's a strong player now. It's just if I'm breaking down a scouting film in sports or in football, I mean, I'm looking at every player and I'm analyzing strengths, weaknesses, strengths, weaknesses, strengths, weaknesses. I mean, that's strong play. I think you got to give that probably more than a +1. Potential for funds to add more length. I don't know, what are we long? 200,000 corn right now? Andy funds, somewhere in there they say. Funds are long 200,000 maybe. 220. He's got all the numbers down to a science on it. 220, they could add more. Obviously, we've seen them close to 500, around 500 on the heydays. So I think there's room to add more. So I'd say dry powder sitting on the sideline +2. Nothing extreme. -2, potential stock market surge, forcing reallocations from funds. That's minus. I think stock market's going higher. Stock market goes higher, we're going to lose some fund money. So probably a minus in my book. Some guys might say it's bullish. I don't. I think it's probably negative. So that weighs against me. +1 on crude oil. This one's kind of tricky. You could argue both sides of the fence. I think end of the day, though, crude shoots to $200 or $150. I think you see rebalancing of the funds. I think they got to buy across the board. I think you see ethanol take a more prominent role. I think you see that play out to be more bullish. Initial knee jerk may be less demand. Obviously, a lot of guys have said, why are we heading lower with crude going higher and corn's going lower? Less demand at the pump. People are going to hunker down, carpool, going to be less gas burned, obviously.